How to navigate leadership transitions. Life means transition. Most people intuitively understand that the world is moving fast, yet they still have a difficult time with it. If you don't learn how to make good transitions, you either get run over or get left behind. One of the characteristics of good leaders is their ability to navigate transitions. That has always been true. They are able to make smooth transitions themselves. And they are also able to help their team members and their organizations do the same. The questions in this chapter will help you to become better at facing, and winning through, transition. When is the right time for a successful leader to move on to a new position? Leaders often get restless. When they do, they start exploring opportunities and new mountains to climb. The more entrepreneurial the leaders, the shorter their attention spans often are. The key to knowing whether it's time to transition is recognizing that there are two kinds of restlessness, good and bad. Good restlessness is healthy. It pulls you forward toward improvement. It comes from your desire to grow, to make a greater impact, to serve others more effectively. Bad restlessness comes from being bored or unhappy. It comes from a desire to escape. It causes you to be impatient. You often jump out of where you are, but not to anything specific. And as a result, it can actually put you in a worse place. People experiencing the positive kind of restlessness are willing to hold steady until there's an opportunity to move to something better. Ask yourself whether you have given the best you have where you are now. Don't move anywhere else until you have. Don't seek a move just to make things easier on yourself. To transition with integrity, you need to have done your best work possible. Then you can leave with a clear heart and mind. Besides, you always want to leave on a high note. You can see farther if you're at a peak than if you're in a valley. Once you're certain that your desire to transition is motivated by the right reasons, use the following steps to help you move through the process the right way. 1. Consider your possibilities. Every transition in life is a trade-off. When you leave a negative place, you leave behind some good things. If you go to a great place, there will be some things about it that you won't like. It's not black and white. And the more successful you are, the harder it is to make trade-offs, because you give up more when you trade off and transition. That's why some people become successful and then become flat. Patience and maturity will empower you to consider your possibilities as you seek to transition. During that time, study, reflect, pray, plan, read, and write. Look for opportunities. Interview people who are ahead of you in the journey. Use the time to your advantage. 2. Weigh the risks and rewards. If you are patient and keep your eyes open, you will find an opportunity. Before you make a transition, it is wise to do a risk assessment. Make lists of risks and rewards. It's not just a matter of which list is longer. Not all entries are equal. A single risk or reward may carry so much weight that it tips the balance. As you weigh the risks against the rewards, be sure to take into account things that tap into your passion, giving them extra weight. And ask yourself these questions: are the potential rewards greater than the risks? You don't want to take a giant leap for a small reward or risk a lot for the potential of a small gain. Is what you hope to do achievable? You may not be certain about your ability to achieve what you desire. But you must know it's possible to achieve it. Can you recover from the downside? It's okay to fail. It's not smart to fail in a way you can't recover from. It's generally not wise to transition without having clarity about where you want to go. You can follow your instinct, but you don't want to do it uninformed. 3. Receive affirmation from your inner circle. The most important person you need affirmation from when making a transition decision is yourself. You need to know your own heart. You need to have confidence. You don't want to make a move if you can't find peace within yourself. Otherwise you'll be plagued by doubt if something goes wrong. And that makes it hard for you to keep steady and persevere. Having said that, it's wise for you to get input from the people closest to you and from wise people ahead of you. The right people's opinions, thoughts, perspectives, and experience can provide a tremendous amount of clarity. They can help you see the bigger picture, especially when your head has been deep into the details. If your decision is right, their input should make that clearer to you. 4. Take action and move forward. If you believe the decision to transition is right and you know where you desire to go, you need to take action. Most decisions people regret in life are the ones they make that lead to inaction. If you're getting older, the only thing worse than not having made a decision when you were younger is not making it now if you still can. Don't live your life haunted by the question, what if? When I'm in the right place doing the right thing, I don't think of any other possibilities. I just love what I'm doing and can't imagine doing anything else. I'm excited and I want everyone around me to be excited. When I start to feel some dissatisfaction, it's often because I can't grow any more and my current situation is limiting my potential. That's when I start to open myself up to other possibilities. How can a leader implement the changes that an organization needs to be successful but resists making? All change does not represent progress, but without change there can be no progress. And it is often up to leaders to initiate and implement changes. But here's the good news, if people need change, they often look to leaders for inspiration and guidance. If you find yourself in a position where you are the leader who must lead the charge for change, keep in mind the following guidelines. Change what needs to be changed, not what is easy to change. When organizations are having difficulties, leaders instinctively know that changes need to be made. One question is whether they will make real needed changes or merely cosmetic ones. Cosmetic changes are relatively easy to make. They give the semblance of change, but often don't actually produce positive results. Changes that can make a difference are harder. Changing organizational culture when it's unhealthy, for example, is difficult. So is changing values. Or leaders and the way they are developed. But these kinds of efforts are what really change an organization. Let go of yesterday so you can go to tomorrow. If you are going to lead change, you need to clear out the old and outdated ways of thinking, and you need to help the people you lead to do the same. That's often not just a practical or intellectual exercise, it's also an emotional one. Acknowledge the importance of the past. Honor the people who have made past contributions. But also show them why they can't stay where they are, and why the place you want to take them is so much better. Communicate the message with simplicity and power. Good leaders take the complex and make it simple. That is a hallmark of a good communicator. That's not easy, but whoever said leadership was supposed to be easy? As you communicate the vision for change, give people multiple reasons for it. The more reasons for change, the more likely people are to accept it. Certainly the main reason will probably be that it is better for the organization. But how is it also good for customers, clients, and the community? And how is it better for the people in the organization who must implement the change? Never underestimate the importance of answering the question, what's in it for me? Activate belief in people. As you work to implement changes, you must believe in them. Without conviction you won't give yourself 100% to the changes. People will sense that and will not follow you. But believing in the cause is not enough. You must also believe in the people who will make the change. Without that conviction they will not move forward. You energize an organization by energizing its people. You activate their belief in themselves. Your confidence in them will give them confidence in themselves. Remove barriers for people. Once you communicate the need and vision for change and help people to believe they can change, your most important task as a leader is to start removing barriers that will keep people from executing the plan. Barriers are usually created by outdated systems, complicated procedures, difficult people, or strained resources. To find the barriers, get out among the people, watch what they're doing, and listen to their complaints. Lead with speed. Speed is important in creating short-term wins. Never underestimate the significance of early victories for giving people confidence to keep moving forward. Wins nourish faith in the change effort. They give an emotional lift to the people who are carrying and implementing the change. And they silence critics. Every win helps to build momentum, which is a leader's best friend. How do I change my mindset from that of a producer to that of a leader? Most of us get our first opportunity to lead because we are personally successful. We produce for the organization, and some leader in the organization wants us to help others do the same. When that happens, a person must make the mind shift from me to we. If you're a good producer, you probably know how you personally contribute to the vision of the organization. Ask yourself, how does this team contribute to the vision, and how can every individual member contribute to the team? Your job is to maximize the team's effort to fulfill the vision. You also need to work to build relationships with the people on your team. If you are naturally a task-oriented person, this may be a stretch. Get to know your team as individuals and try to connect with them. Look for ways to add value to them. Find ways to lift them up with encouragement and gratitude. You can't really know what everyone's best contribution is until you know everyone. As a producer, you already know how to win. As a leader, your job is to help the entire team win. As an entrepreneurial leader of a fast-growing organization, how do I know whether to transition my role to create structure and stability, or to hire leaders to fulfill the new needs? It's obvious that in an organization that's not succeeding, leaders need to create change to get forward progress and create momentum. However, when organizations are highly successful, especially smaller organizations, leaders must make changes to sustain success and increase momentum. If they rely too long on past successes and keep doing what they've always done, the organization will eventually hit a wall. In small entrepreneurial organizations, the top leaders are often the catalysts for the organization. They are the ones who see opportunities, produce organizational energy, and create synergy between the organization and its customers. If you are the catalyst for your organization, do not lose your strength. In small organizations, the leader's passion drives everything. So don't institutionalize your organization too quickly. Instead of changing your role, channel your energy. Here's how: invite your inner circle to help you focus your energy. Most entrepreneurial leaders don't struggle to find opportunities. They struggle to focus on the best opportunities. And the more gifted the leaders, the greater the number of options available to them. One way to find your focus is to form a committee that will regularly review opportunities, discuss strategy, and weigh choices. Choose people who will share their perspectives, offer wisdom, and remind you to stay in your strength zone even when you step out of your comfort zone. They need to understand the importance of your entrepreneurial spirit and have the wisdom and skill to channel it, not control it or try to stop it for their own comfort or convenience. Meet fairly frequently, at least monthly. This is not a one-and-done kind of activity, especially in an entrepreneurial organization, where the landscape is constantly changing and you're continually re-evaluating your opportunities. Enlist people who maximize and magnify your energy. Once you've narrowed your focus to the things that have the greatest potential, you need to make the most of them. One of the things I've always looked for in people on my team is the ability to maximize the opportunities we have. Every experience that involves other people can be magnified by those who understand the value of an opportunity, the importance of timing, the quality of the experience, and the impact of numbers. If you're the one who sees and seizes opportunities, bring around yourself leaders and support staff who can make the most of those opportunities. Empower people who have skill and energy in areas where you lack them. I'm not big on structure. I think too many organizations overemphasize it. And I think a lot of organizations use reorganization to try to solve problems when they don't know what else to do. Instead, I prefer a leadership-driven model of organization. Put the right leaders into place, train and develop them well, then empower them to make an impact in their area. As your organization grows, look for people who share your values and have a deep appreciation for opportunity and impact, but who can bring organizational skills to the table to help you build a framework that will further growth and serve the vision. The energy that you bring and that is already felt throughout the company will be even better when it's channeled correctly. What leadership principles enable a failed leader to lead again successfully? When leaders fail, whether the breakdown occurs as a result of poor character, bad judgment, or lack of skill, one of the first things they think about is often how to move back into leadership. I think that's only natural, because leaders love to lead. However, if they don't first stop and take time to correct whatever problems they've had, they are very likely to keep repeating the same mistakes. If you've failed as a leader and lost your position, you need to consider the following before attempting to return to leadership. Evaluation: what went wrong? Before you can move back into a leadership role, you need to fix whatever problems you have in your leadership. You can't do that if you don't know what they are. Where did you go wrong? Was it a mistake in strategy? Did you lack skills necessary for good leadership? Do your problems stem from poor self-leadership? The last is the most common issue for failed leaders, but it is often the most difficult for them to see on their own. If you're not sure what went wrong, talk to people with first-hand knowledge to get their perspective. Emotional strength: can you bounce back? I strongly believe that people need to learn how to fail forward, and I believe they can. However, it requires emotional strength. If you've failed, you need to be able to face your failure, own up to it, and process it emotionally. And you also need to regain your footing and rebuild your emotional strength and resilience before you try to lead others again. If you haven't regained that emotional strength, you're likely to repeat the same mistakes, especially if character and self-leadership issues were at the root of your past problems. Evolution: can you make the adjustments needed for future success? After you've identified what went wrong and regathered your strength emotionally, you still have a lot of internal work to do. Maybe you need to put yourself on a personal growth plan whereby you read a dozen books and attend some conferences. Maybe you need to seek counseling to help you with character issues. Maybe you need to find a mentor. Maybe you need to further your education. Maybe you need greater accountability. You need to figure it out and make necessary adjustments. If you're not willing and able to do that, you probably should not step back into leadership. Once you're done working on yourself, you still need to do a lot of work with others. You need to earn respect and rebuild trust with people. The process of building trust begins with being honest and transparent about your weaknesses, frailties, and mistakes. People don't expect their leaders to be perfect, but they do expect them to be honest. If you understand your humanness, can learn to accept it, and are open about it, you're in a position to ask people's forgiveness. That's where the trust-building process starts. Many people will never trust you until you ask forgiveness. Some won't trust you even then, but if you're honest and humble about your failure, ask forgiveness, try to make amends, and demonstrate a willingness to change, you've done what you can to move forward. You have no control over whether others forgive you or trust you again. You can only do everything in your power to earn trust from the people you work with. Just be sure that if you regain their trust, you move forward with integrity and don't willingly violate it again. Why do some leaders fail to have a successor? Some leaders simply fail to plan for succession. They don't like contemplating the end of the leadership road for themselves, so they simply refuse to think about it. They act as though they will live and lead forever, and they either die while still holding on to their positions or get pushed out once they are no longer effective. But often when organizations fail to have a successor, it's not because the leader doesn't want one. It's because one of the following happens: the organization doesn't accept the new leader. Sometimes the people in an organization are so entrenched in old thinking that they won't allow a new person to lead them. The new leader doesn't like the organization. Sometimes there isn't a good fit, and it's not discovered until the new leader takes the reins. The new leader doesn't fit the corporate culture. If the vision and values of the leader don't match up with those of the organization, there will be a clash. The new leader fails to bring about successful changes. Sometimes the person chosen to succeed a leader isn't as good as hoped due to lack of ability, capacity, experience, knowledge, or relational connection. The old guard sabotages the efforts of the new leader. Any time an organization contains leaders who believe they were passed over in favor of another leader, there is the danger that they may do what they can to make the new leader fail. The old leader sabotages the efforts of the new leader. Occasionally the person stepping down has a hard time seeing someone else succeed in the position. There are certainly no guarantees when it comes to succession, yet I believe it is something worth fighting for. The law of legacy in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership states, a leader's lasting value is measured by succession. What are the most important things a leader transitioning out of a position can do to ensure the success of the person taking over the role? If you are thinking about succession, whether because of a transition to another organization or because you believe your time to lead is coming to an end, that needs to be your primary focus as a leader. I believe you, your organization, and your successor will benefit if you proceed in this way. 1. Plan ahead. As the outgoing leader, you must do your best to prepare yourself, your successor, and your organization for the upcoming transition. It is your responsibility to the people you lead to make the change as smooth as possible. 2. Pick your successor. In some organizations you don't get to pick your successor. It's done by another leader or by a board of directors. However, if it is within your power, pick someone who has the potential to take the organization further than you have. Obviously you want to look for high leadership gifting and strong skills for your industry. But also keep in mind how long the person will have the potential to lead. Planning for succession. 1. Prepare yourself. Many leaders have a hard time letting go of their leadership positions. Some can't handle it emotionally. Some have not prepared financially. Others have not discussed it with their families. Get yourself ready for the idea. 2. Look for several potential successors. If you are in a position to pick your successor, look for several people with the potential to replace you. Ideally you would have a pool of people to pick from. 3. Let the organization know change is on the horizon. Transitions from one leader to another can be traumatic. Don't spring it on your people. Let them know in plenty of time, if it's within your power. You probably naturally gravitate to people in your own age bracket. Birds of a feather flock together. If you're nearing retirement age, don't allow yourself to think of successors of your own generation. Reach down. Look for young leaders with potential. They may not have as much seasoning and experience, but they give the organization a better chance to succeed in the long run. 3. Prepare your successor. Focus your efforts on giving the upcoming successor every possible opportunity to take on responsibility, make decisions, and influence the organization before the transition. Your goal as a leader should be to work yourself out of a job. Develop your successor as a person and leader. Don't think solely in terms of the job. Try to reproduce yourself. Equip and empower your successor to the point that they can do the job as well as you, and then some. If you give all you can and add it to all they are and bring to the table, you give the person and the organization a good chance to succeed. 4. Take care of any unfinished business. If you are leaving an organization on a high note, you probably have a clear perspective on your organization. That means you know where the problems are. No one is in a better position to take care of unfinished business than you are. You have people's respect, and you have the power to solve difficulties for your successor. So why not do that? You can afford to take hits because you have so much credibility. You can create space for your successor to move forward without those difficulties. What a fantastic gift. 5. Say goodbye. When it's time for you to resign, leave. Few things are more debilitating to a new leader than having his predecessor meddling in the organization and undermining his leadership. So when you step down from the leadership of your job outside of your organization, get out of the way. Let your successor do the job outside of your shadow. 6. Make yourself available to your successor. Part of saying goodbye is not offering unsolicited advice. However, your successor will appreciate it if you make yourself available when and if they choose to reach out to you. There are things only you can know. You have a perspective that is unique and valuable. Offer it when asked. How do you handle leaving great people who came to a company because you asked them to? Telling people goodbye can be difficult. When you make a transition, no matter how necessary it is or how well you do it, you will disappoint people you care about. You should not allow that to stop you if it's the right thing to do. Help the people you can. Set your successor up for success. And leave with integrity. You can't expect yourself to do more than that. What should be the legacy of a successful leader? Legacies that matter are connected with people. 100 years from now, all that will matter is the people that you connected with in such a way that you added value and meaning to their lives. There are people in your world who would be thrilled to learn from you, not just the person who will succeed you in your leadership position, but people in every area of your life. Achievement comes to people who are able to do great things for themselves. Success comes when they lead followers to do great things for them. But a legacy is created only when leaders put their people into a position to do great things without them. The legacy of successful leaders live on through the people they touch along the way. The only things you can change permanently are the hearts of the people you lead.